So you're thinking about booking a trip to Tulum, or maybe you already have, and now you're wondering, what are some things that I need to know before I go? Well, you stumbled onto the right video because I will tell you a few things that you need to know before you go. So let's start off with how to get to Tulum. So you'll be arriving at the Cancun airport, and from there you'll be able to rent a car, take a bus, or take a taxi, which I highly recommend not to take a taxi unless that's your only other option, because the prices can get really high and some will try to even rip you off unless you have really good bargaining skills and can talk the local language. A second option is the bus. And the bus is really affordable. The trip will be around 2 hours to 2.5 hours, and it will make a stop at Playa Carmen, I believe it was. And from there, don't think that that's the single stop, because many people will end up getting off thinking it's Tulum, but it's not. So after that stop, it'll continue on all the way down to Tulum, which is a 2 hour to 2 hour and a half, same as if you were to rent a car. But my first option that I would recommend is to rent a car. The car is not that expensive. For us, 7 days was actually around 200 to 250, and our insurance had covered Mexico, so we were good. I'm not sure what the price would be if you were to get their insurance, but make sure that you get a good deal. You can bargain with them at times, and you're set to go. So should I bring cash or use my card? The answer is cash. Cash is your go-to anywhere you go in Tulum, anywhere you go in Mexico, because there are many small stores and many small restaurants that don't accept card at all, and you don't want to depend on your card just in case you run into an emergency and they're not taking your card. So just bring cash with you. On the topic of cash, the best place to withdraw it is away from the airport, not in the airport at all, because the fees are extremely high. So if you're renting a car, I recommend you actually drive the car to a supermarket and you actually use the ATM there, because the fees aren't crazy high and you can grab a snack and drinks for your trip ahead. So now you're probably wondering, how much should I take? Take out what you feel comfortable carrying. I took out 200 and I had no problem. It lasted us quite a couple of days because the food there is inexpensive. Unless you really want to enjoy and dine, then go to the beach and just carry a little more cash with you because it's on the expensive side. But we ate in the pueblo, we got some tacos, we had some horchata, which was really good, and it lasted us a couple days. So I recommend you actually try the pueblo because it's more intact with the people, the locals, and it's really good. There was this family that we actually ate tacos from. It was 15 pesos per taco. So you know me, I ate a bunch of tacos. I love food and I love trying the local food as well. So yeah, it was really inexpensive. It was really good. So you've arrived to Tulum, now you're wondering, where should I stay? Let's split Tulum in two halves. You have the beach, La Playa, then you have the town, El Pueblo. So if you want luxurious, expensive hotels, beautiful scenery and everything, the beach area is the best to go. But if you're on a budget like I was, the Pueblo is going to be your best option, because in reality, the beach is not that far from the Pueblo. You can literally rent a bicycle and ride all the way to the beach in just 15 minutes. Another thing you should take in consideration about being in El Pueblo, or just Tulum in general, is don't expect the Wi-Fi to be very fast or the very best, because in reality we didn't have a problem with it, because we just went there to enjoy, to have a good time, to just get away from a lot of what we're really used to and dip ourselves basically into the culture and their way of life. Another great thing to know is to bring your own sunscreen from wherever you're coming from. Get a small travel size sunscreen, because when you get to Tulum, if you don't have sunscreen and you go during the summer, it gets crazy expensive, even for a small bottle that I myself had to pay $11. That only lasted me around 2 days, which is ridiculous. So come prepared, bring a small travel size sunscreen if you can. Another great thing to bring is mosquito repellent, because in Tulum, mosquito repellent can get expensive. So I recommend you actually bring a small travel size bottle with you of your favorite brand that works a lot with you, because you don't want to end up paying a crazy amount of money for a small bottle that will probably only last you 3 sprays. Water is your best friend no matter where you go in Tulum or in Mexico, because you want to stay hydrated. You don't want to end up passing out and ruining your trip. So I recommend picking up a couple bottles at your local supermarket and just taking it with you before you go on a trip or an excursion anywhere around there. So bring water. And it's fairly affordable. It's very cheap actually. Another thing that I highly recommend you bring, or if you like, you can get it down in Tulum. It's really inexpensive and it helps the locals, is a hat. Because the sun there is crazy and there's times where you can go to the beach and the sun just blazes. So this will be another best friend of yours throughout the trip. Where should I go and what should I do in Tulum? The first place I can highly recommend is Coba Ruins, because Coba Ruins is so beautiful. It is amazing. It's ancient history in modern time, because when you go there, the ancient ruins are so well preserved. We even had a guy that can talk the native language of the Mayans. It was amazing. Check it out. Coba was known for their trade, and the fascinating thing is that you can still see the roads that led to different Mayan cities. So while you're in the Coba territories visiting, you actually have the option to walk, rent a bicycle, or to get pushed around in the bicycle cart. I think that's what it's called. I ended up walking because I just wanted to feel like I was there during that time. I wanted to walk the paths that they walked, and honestly, the area was not that big and it was actually very manageable to walk. Although there were some loose rocks, it wasn't to a point where I would slip and fall. It was just normal gravel like any dirt road, so it was pretty easy. So the entrance into the Coba Ruins is around 80 to 90 pesos, which is around $4 to $6 US per person, and honestly it's well worth it, because when I went inside it just amazed me, because it's something that I'd never seen before and it was different. So they also have tour guides. The price can range from 50 to 80 US, and take into consideration that this is how they make their money. So apart from Coba Ruins, there is also a little strip by Tulum which is called Punta Allen, and let me tell you that this is a place where not a lot of people go. It is not very well known and it is extremely beautiful. The tour is a little bit pricey, but it is well worth it, because you have the option to either go with public or private, and with public people they can take up to 5 people and you can split the price. With private, you have the option of going with 1 or 2 people, and the price is the same as if you were to split it with 5 other people. So what the tour offers is you get to go see actual manatees, turtles, and dolphins if you are lucky. It depends on what time you actually go, because when we went, we actually saw 1 turtle, 1 manatee, and about 3 dolphins. And honestly, it was really pretty, because they actually got to the surface and you could actually see them in the wild. They were not being disturbed, they weren't being bothered, they were just naturally swimming, casual lives, loving it. And it was a pretty good experience. After you do that, they actually just show you around the island, take you around the island, and they spin you around into this little area where the water is crystal clear and it's honestly beautiful. This little place, Punta Allen, there's not a lot of people. It is very quiet, it is peaceful, and it's very well worth it. So on your way to Punta Allen, you'll go through this place called the Siancan, which is a natural reserve. So there will be birds, lizards, and it's really pretty. But the road is super duper bumpy, a lot of holes. So if you do decide to rent a car, a normal car will be super slow. The trip was around a 2-hour trip when it's supposedly supposed to be an hour. But if you have a Jeep or you decide to rent one, you go through there like it's a breeze. If you're trying to get away from the beach, but you still want to get cool, another place that I recommend are cenotes. You can find them all around Tulum and they are well worth it. Did you know that the Mayans used to believe that cenotes were the gateway to the underworld? I was truly unaware of that until one of the tour guides actually told us, and I was like, wow, that's crazy that back in the day they actually believed that this was a gateway to the underworld. I was shocked. So there are many cenotes throughout Tulum. There was one that we ended up going to called Casa Tortugas, and they hosted around 5 to 6 cenotes, and honestly the experience was amazing because you actually have a group of people and you actually have to swim through a cave that is underwater, and the experience was just remarkable. They actually talked about what the black spots above the cave roofs are and how the bats leave them, and there's other parts where you can jump off and just have a good time and you just swim. If you don't want to be in the water, you have the option to walk on the side, which is concrete, and just catch up at the end with everybody else. So these are a few things that you should know before you go to Tulum. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and stay tuned for our next YouTube video when we unveil our next destination.